Matt Powell. He's always game for a laugh. He might be a misogynistic POS, but he actually has some really clever ideas about... I'm sorry, I tried. This donut who thinks the Earth is only 6,000 years old and that T-Rex and humans actually live together has a challenge for atheists. I can't wait to see what this is. Hello, I'm the Skeptic, the British floating circle that watches people make extraordinary claims and then I explain why I don't accept what they're saying. He's nobody's favourite creationist, and yet he's back again to just get on everyone's nerves with some idiotic challenge for atheists. At this point of my script, I haven't watched the video, so I'm ready to be just as surprised as you when this creationist Wally sets a challenge for atheists that probably won't demonstrate a god any more than it usually does. So before accepting the atheist challenge of a lifetime, if this isn't your first Skeptic video, hit the like, the subscribe and the bell, and maybe the algorithm will accept the challenge of suggesting better videos for you. And a super thanks to those that hit super thanks in some recent videos. Mark Rothenbuehler, Thrall, Roger Wenzel and Pavel Nadolski. And a big thank you to channel members who get to use Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe and more hen emojis. Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe bestows leaves upon you all. More hen. I'm ready to accept your challenge, Matthew.
Okay, if you're an atheist or an evolutionist, or if you believe that the Earth is billions of years old, this video is for you because I'm going to present to you undeniable evidence that the universe is actually much younger than you think.
Oh, I'm sure your prize for demonstrating the actual age of the universe is on the way because you really know what you're talking about. And the real experts who know how to demonstrate the age of the universe don't. It's not a guess at how old the universe is. There are ways of showing how old it is.
We actually find in dinosaur graveyards dinosaur collagen, remains from dinosaurs that existed only thousands of years ago. Think about it. Collagen only can last a maximum of 900,000 years. Pretty much all scientists will agree that that is the maximum amount of time that it could last.
What does dinosaur blood have to do with the age of the universe? Do you now think that dinosaurs made it? But also, in the right conditions, collagen, or at least the echoes of collagen, those being how we can tell collagen was once there, could last much longer.
So, if you're finding collagen fibers inside of dinosaur graves, is it plausible to assume then that dinosaurs died out 65 plus million years ago? It's dishonest to make a claim like that when we know what the rates of deterioration are of collagen.
It's dishonest to warp details so that your loony explanations suddenly make sense, which obviously they don't.
And yet so many people just assume dinosaurs lived and died out millions of years ago, even despite this evidence. I know some of you guys will watch this video and will still claim dinosaurs lived millions of years ago.
Claim? No. Explain due to the mountains of evidence to support? Yes. The ancient dinosaurs did live millions of years ago. Denying it due to a lack of understanding doesn't change that, Matthew. Just makes you look ridiculous.
Well, hello. Guys, we're finding collagen in their graves. Collagen is the soft material inside of our bones. It's a protein that just wears out so fast. It breaks down so quickly. How in the world is one of the most fragile proteins in the world going to survive?
It breaks down so fast, and yet you said it can go on for around 900,000 years. Make up your mind, Matthew. And dinosaur graveyards make it sound like there's a Parasaurolophus digging holes in the ground, which I'm not against. In fact, that's more believable to me than giant dinosaurs living just a few thousand years ago.
For millions of years in the ground, even under the best conditions of preservation. Multiple laboratory experiments have shown that there are known decay rates. We know what the decay rates of collagen are. And so based on that, we can extrapolate back and see that dinosaurs could not have even existed a million years ago.
They can see in test conditions the rate of decay, but that's not the same as other things interfering, if, in fact, there even is collagen. And this isn't some kind of made-up creationist story, which does happen and really is far more likely that Matt is just making stuff up.
Because collagen can't even last a million years in a dead organism. If you've made it this far into the video, would you mind hitting the like button for me? What it does is it helps the algorithm to push this information out to a wider audience, and I want it to get to people who believe in Darwinism and evolution and an old Earth. And so if you do that for me, I would truly appreciate it.
You heard the dope, do the things. Let's have silly creationists see how silly they are for saying silly things. And did I say lots of S words on purpose? Yes, I did.
Alright, so not only do we find collagen inside of dinosaur bones, we find many more biological materials inside of dinosaur graves. Things like DNA, histones, keratin, skin pigments, bone cells, nerve cells, all sorts.
But those things haven't actually been found, have they, Matty boy? Just chemicals that suggest they were once there. That's really how it all works. You keep mentioning dishonest atheists, but who is really being dishonest here?
Of biological material, we find blood cells, blood vessels. How in the world is that possible? Could you take just one blood cell and expect it to last for deep time, for millions of years or even 10,000 years?
No, because that's not what's happening, is it? And you'd know that if you didn't just ignore what has been demonstrated.
There is so much bioorganic evidence for recent dinosaur existence. It is overwhelming how much evidence that we have.
Is it? Well, where is it then? Where is all this dinosaur blood, the skin and the DNA? If you can show it, I might accept what you're saying, but just saying, this exists, is all you folks ever do. Extinct dinosaur collagen exists. Proof that the Earth is only 6,000 years old exists. Jesus exists. Sorry, M to the P, I'm not convinced.
I cannot believe that people deny the evidence, and they would rather make believe in this whole idea that
God is real? Talking about yourself here, Dr. Peel lover. Who really ignores the evidence and plays make-believe? Creationists.
everything came from nothing.
Except it's creationists that think things come from nothing, with a magic man clapping his hands together or something. Point to one atheist that actually thinks things come from nothing.
Rained on rocks for millions of years after the Big Bang occurred, and out of the soup, eventually you have amoebas crawling out, and those amoebas eventually evolved into dinosaurs, and then dinosaurs lived up until 65 million years ago, and then they all died out.
Well, they didn't though, did they? Because some people keep relatives of those old dinosaurs as pets. I had a box of dinosaur wings last week from KFD, which would be a much better name for that place if you asked me.
But then some of them devolved into chickens. I know a lot of people think that eventually dinosaurs turned into birds and chickens.
Why would you call that devolve? Do you think that because something is smaller, it's lesser? I really hope you're under 6'2", so that way you can be a lesser human than me when I'm not a floating circle, obviously. Modern birds are just a distant relative of some of those older dinosaurs. The fossil record shows that to be the case.
And so, it's kind of interesting when I talk to people on the street about this notion that they did evolve into chickens, people laugh at it.
They probably laugh at the way you present it, thinking your phrasing makes it sound as ridiculous as you. But why is it so ridiculous when there's tons of evidence in the fossil record to support it?
They think it's a joke. They know it's a joke. It is so ludicrous. But yet, Darwinists online are so convinced that they are right, they laugh at people who don't believe in Darwinism, and they mock those of us who accept what God said, and we accept the scientific evidence as it has been revealed.
Well, when it comes to what God said, you have to look in the Bible. Well, when it comes to the Bible,
no one cares!
Even if you take the best preservation mechanisms and apply it to these proteins would still not exist today if the Earth was millions of years old and if dinosaurs existed millions of years ago.
But no one other than you is saying that these things exist now for the Earth to be only 6,000 years old. You're making up a solution for your own problem.
You may or may not remember this, but in 2005, when Mary Schweitzer had made the discovery of the dinosaur blood cells and the blood vessels in a T-Rex femur, the scientific community, or at least many skeptics, condemned her findings, and they said, this cannot be real. This cannot be true. They did not want to follow the evidence.
Oh, here we go, using Mary Schweitzer to help demonstrate your point, when she, herself, has had to correct creationists when they misrepresent her findings. Mary even said that her findings don't support the creationists' dinosaur timeline, saying this publicly. One thing that does bother me, though, is that young Earth creationists take my research and use it for their own message, and I think they are misleading people about it. Pastors and evangelists who are in a position of leadership are doubly responsible for checking facts and getting things right, but they have misquoted me and misrepresented the data. They're looking at this research in terms of a false dichotomy, science versus faith, and that doesn't do anybody any favours.
And so now that they've confirmed that it is true, the question is simple. Are we going to accept the evidence for what it is? Or are we going to force this evidence to fit into a certain timeline?
It really is like he doesn't realise he's talking about himself.
That we want to propose, Darwinian evolution's timeline of billions of years.
This isn't the first time I've been let down by a Matt Powell video. He literally called this video the ultimate challenge for atheists, but didn't offer any challenge whatsoever. Let down? I guess I should check out another one of his lame videos to give this a bit of substance.
There's 10 reasons why God exists, and we're going to just run through these real fast for sake of time. Number 1, the order and design of the cosmos points to an intelligent mind. You do not get matter and energy from nothing. If I said that a rock just appeared in this room from nowhere, would anybody believe me? But imagine if the entire universe just poofed into existence from nothing with no God.
So things can poof into existence with a God, just not without one. Well, it's a good job no atheists I know think that the universe came from nothing.
That is magic. If you're an atheist, you're believing in mysticism and magic. You cannot get something from nothing. And order and design means that there is a designer.
But you believe in magic, Matthew. That a make-believe God used magic to make it all. Why is it silly for you to suggest atheists believe in magic, but you do that exact same thing?
Because everything that begins to exist has a cause. The universe began to exist at one point, at some point in the past, whether it was through the Big Bang or through God speaking it into existence. The universe began to exist.
Everything that begins to exist probably has an explanation for its existence. Sometimes that explanation can be Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe, leave be upon her.
Life is balanced on a razor's edge, folks. If we were a little bit closer to the sun, we would burn up. If we were a little bit farther from the sun, we would freeze to death. If the moon wasn't in just a specific position, we would be drowned by the waves that the moon actually causes, the tides.
Are you just repackaging the fine-tuning argument here? How could you possibly prove that those things were firstly made, and secondly, with us mere humans in mind?
Number 4, the amount of information in a single cell is so densely packed that it demands an intelligent mind. You cannot get information from nothingness. That is foolishness.
DNA doesn't have words in it. It's just an analogy used to help dumb it down for laymen. Unfortunately, some of those laymen actually take it literally. Matthew.
Number 5, life comes from life. To me, it's much more plausible to believe and assert that life came into existence from a creator rather than life coming into existence from a rock.
Just ignoring what the Urey Miller experiment says about abiogenesis doesn't suddenly mean that your God is real. With the right conditions, life can develop from the inorganic. Denial doesn't demonstrate truth. It's a river.
Humans have an innate drive for meaning in life. I believe every single person in this room is seeking meaning in life. Let me tell you something. If we are seeking meaning in life, that means we were designed by a God who created us with a purpose.
No, it doesn't. It just means we are curious. And that's what happens when you need to survive. Curiosity helps us learn and adapt. No gods needed, I'm afraid.
And if atheism is true, and there is no God, there's no meaning in life. And a lot of atheists tell me, I make up my own meaning. That's make-believe. They're living in a make-believe world.
You know, I would believe in a God if Matt could prove that the picture on the wall behind him is coming out of his arse. The amount of projection from this dude is incredible.
Moral absolutes demand that there is a moral lawgiver. If there is no God, how do you tell right from wrong? It's all subjective. It's all based on feelings. A lot of people will tell me it depends on what our society decides. Well, in Adolf Hitler's society, it was right to kill Jews, but is it right to do that?
It wasn't right to do what did. That's why there was a war, you moron. Is it right to shout at women and belittle people, Matt?
You're a skinny little runt baby that can't think for himself, And you come here, you constantly leech off me, then you go complain to other people, oh, Matt's taking advantage of me. Dude, you will go to hell! I am not joking! Look at me!
Matt, stop.
Look at me!
Stop.
You look at me right now!
Stop.
We experience love. And let me say this, there is more to love than a biochemical reaction. And if you're married this morning, or if you have children this morning, or if you have a mom or a dad this morning, you probably know this, that there's more to love than just chemicals.
I agree. The reaction that the love chemicals give you is more than the chemicals themselves, but that is just an explanation for something that happens when your brain triggers these reactions. It doesn't prove a God, Matt. It proves brain function.
According to Darwinists, we're nothing but chemicals. But according to the Bible, we were designed with a purpose, and we were designed with the ability to love.
Oh, the Bible!
No one cares!
Free will. Darwinists believe that there is no such thing as free will. You can go to your university, you can ask them, and they will say there's no free will. We are programmed by genetic processes through natural selection, and we cannot make choices ultimately. We are just robots. That is not true. Everybody in here knows that we were designed with a free will, that you have the ability to make choices. And if you have that ability to choose between right and wrong, that means that there is a right and wrong moral lawgiver. And not only that, that also means that you were designed by somebody that gave you the ability to make those choices.
Everybody knows that you make undemonstrated assertions, probably, but you're just rehashing the moral stuff which we've already touched on.
The human drive for life after death. This is evidence for God's existence. We were designed with a desire to obtain life after death. Every single religion tries to explain what's going to happen after we die. And this is a wonderful promise, for if we believe that Jesus died and rose again. If you believe that this morning, say amen.
Well, you're kind of creating a problem and giving it a solution, but one that doesn't have any evidence for its existence. Just like every other Matt video, the creationist doesn't have a clue. He makes things up, and then he makes up reasons for that to mean a god. There was no challenge here, just a bunch of assertions and misunderstanding. Typical creationist. When will they learn? Do you think that Matt had any valid points here? Let me know in the section below. I'm going to skeptic this as a creationist never getting it right. A big thank you to this month's top level ticks on Patreon: Dark Ether Piao, Tamo, the Barely Bearable Atheist, George, Godless Granny, Addy Rockhart, The Enixes, Jakari, Elizabeth, Whiskey Tech, Fred, Rick and Ray, as well as all the $3 base ticks and channel members. You can become a supporter on Patreon too at patreon.com/theskeptic. The link is in the description along with links to all my other socials, or become a member by hitting the join button below this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't already. From me, the Skeptic, stay safe, keep thinking logically, and ask questions. Skepticism is the first step towards truth. See you next Saturday.